Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Moe Sass, your host of Self Love Sundays. I am a certified wellness life coach that teaches women how to love themselves so they can go out and get the life they so desperately desire, whether that's in terms of career, relationships, financial stability, or just living out your dreams, whatever it is you desire. I like to say that I am an aid into helping you unblock whatever is blocking your way so that you can have the life that you so desperately desire. And I know, fellas, you hear me say ladies. However, I want you to know that I welcome men. I thank you for watching my podcast. Thankful for those who have reached out to me. And just to let you know, I have coached some men in terms of mostly relationships with men. Let's just be honest. So men are definitely welcome. So I thank you for listening. So today I want to talk about ask, believe, receive. Because here's the thing, whether I'm talking to clients or I'm talking to family members or friends, I hear a lot of times people say, well, I prayed and I meditated and, about 4 things and, these things are not happening in my life, or I'm receiving, more negativity than positivity. And there could be a lot of things to that, but I'm going to focus in on one this morning and we're going to talk about it because, and I want to say up front, I don't like to call myself religious. I think religious is a practice of rituals. I am definitely a spiritual being that solely I believe in God. And it is okay, whatever it is that you like to practice or feel for you, whether you call it universe, God, whatever it is that you like to call it, Buddha, Allah, it is okay. But we're going to just, talk about certain things today. And I just want to tell you this, I read a lot of books, and whether it's The Secret, The Magic, The Power of Positive Thinking, The Law of Attraction, Abraham Hicks, a lot of them, just so you know, take a lot of excerpts from from the Bible. The Ask, Believe, Receive is also, taken from the Bible. But I want to talk about particularly today. You're praying and you're meditating for things, right? So I'm gonna pull an excerpt that I love from the Bible that talks about prayer, and it's actually Mark 12, and I'm talking from the New Living Translation. For those of you who I'm about to say this and you're like, that's not what it says. Listen, this is my interpretation. No, I'm just messing. But I'm taking it from the New Living Translation again, Mark 12. And it says, Mark 12:24, you can pray for anything. And if you believe, you will have it. But there's a part that comes after this that I think people either skip over, don't read, or don't pay attention to. Because it is a very important part. It says, I'm going to start over. You can pray for anything. And if you believe, you will have it, right? So law of attraction, Abraham Hicks, ask, believe, receive, right? How to manifest your desires, right? Ask and it is given, right? All of that same principle. But here's the part. And Abraham Hicks talks about it in terms of energy. I'm just going to say that before I get into the passages 24 and 25, I think, still from the Bible's Mark 12:24-25. But when you are praying, first, forgive a grudge against anyone, so that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins too. First, forgiveness. Now let's talk about this a little bit, because I know you are right now rolling your necks and your eyes, right? Here's the thing. Why must you start with forgiveness? And I talked about this last Sunday. For those of you who missed last Sunday's talk, please go back and take a listen to it. I talked about things not being your fault, right? So what am I saying? It is not your fault if you lost your job. It is not your fault that, when I'm talking about in terms of this pandemic, right? Let's focus in a little bit, because sometimes it is your fault, but I'm talking about when it's not. Okay? So in terms of the pandemic, it's not your fault that you lost your job, right? It is not your fault if someone cheated on you. Listen, we all understand that you do the best that you can in a certain situation with what you know, right? So it's not your fault that you didn't know what you needed to know to achieve or gain whatever that is, right? It's not your fault that you may not, some people may not even understand that they're toxic or that they're bringing some sort of toxicity to the relationship, right? Some people don't know. I mean, it's not their fault that they weren't taught about finances and credit, so things are all kind of messed up. It may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility to do something about it. It's your responsibility to pick up a book. It's your responsibility to then get your butt and hit that pavement and go out and find another job or start a new business, right? That becomes your responsibility. So in terms of forgiving and holding grudges, it is not your fault. Let me tell you this. It's not your fault, whatever happened to you when you were a child, but it is your fault. It's your responsibility to do something about it. Therapy, life coach, hire me. I'm great at what I do, by the way. So it's not your fault, but it's your responsibility. So in terms of forgiveness, we get that it may not be your fault, but you have to forgive. And forgiveness is not for the other person. It is setting yourself free. You have to let that go. You're still holding on to that negativity, still holding on to the negativity that was surrounding that person. Therefore, that person stays in your energetic field. And so does that negativity. In terms of Abraham Hicks, she always talks about energy, right? Where your focus flows, for your focus goes, energy flows. So if you are focused on the negativity of that person in your next relationship, guess what's happening? The negativity. And then you're saying, well, I'm praying and I'm meditating, but it's not happening for me. And then here's the other thing, where you have those people. Oh, let's talk about it for a second. You have those people who leave the relationship and they're wishing this person bad, or they leave in the job and they're wishing those people bad, or they're on the phone, trying to get their financial situation together, and they're wishing the other person on the other end bad, or wishing their parents bad, or wishing their siblings bad, right? So here's the other thing. Let me tell you something. There's the law of reaping, and it's the law of sowing and reaping. I'm sorry. It's a spiritual principle, right? Also comes from the Bible. Just want to say that. And it goes a little bit deeper for me because I'm in my thought. There's also a passage in the Bible, and I believe this is like Luke 6:37-38, that tells us whatever we give out, we will have multiplied back to us. All of this combined together, and let me tell you what I mean by that. So, if you criticize people, guess what? You will reap criticism. Okay, so you're praying, you're asking for positive things in your life, right? Let's tie this together. Positive things in your life, but you're talking negatively about other people. You're seeing people winning, and you're turning up your nose, and you're upset. You believe they don't deserve what they deserve. You left the relationship, or you guys broke up, or they cheated on you, and then they moved on, and you feel like they leveled up, and you're wishing them all sorts of bad, and you're wishing all these things to happen to them. Guess what? Life and death is in the tongue, right? You are asking for greatness, but throwing out negativity, and you wonder why it's boomeranging back to you. Okay. The other thing, if you judge, guess what? What are you reaping back to you? Judgment, right? So then you wonder why people were sitting in judgment. This is why we have to let those things go. This is where it becomes vital, right? That you work on your healing, that you work on healing your past trauma, you work on forgiveness of your parents. And listen, I'm talking to you from a space, from a place. Come in here, this video, if you're listening to the video, and if you're on the podcast and you can only hear the audio, I'm leaning, baby. I'm leaning into you. And I'm leaning into you because I want you to understand. I want you to hear. I want you to stop from that place of just knowing, right? And actually doing something about it by changing your mindset and changing your perspective to understanding that you have to let it go. You have to heal it. And I don't mean let it go means stuffing it down like I used to do. Hello, somebody. Can everybody who just wants to just not deal with things and just, I'm just going to get over it. Can we raise our hands today and be honest? Okay, but let me tell you something, it doesn't work. It will surface again and it will bubble up to the top again. And I'm going to say this too. We're not perfect beings. So there's times, and I've done this, man. Listen, I thought I had worked on something and then healed and gotten into a relationship, and it's come up again. And I am very, very honest. It was like my codependency, right? So the reason why I thought that the one relationship that I had, whom I'm going to tell you something, I love this man more than life itself. You wouldn't have never told me that we would not be together. And he literally shattered my heart into a million pieces. It just is what it is. And I'm smiling about it because what people don't understand, and that was, people don't understand is people think that people come in their lives and they're supposed to be with them forever and they're supposed to stay forever. But that's not always true. Sometimes people come into your life because they're there to show you something, to aid in something, to help you see things that you may be missing. Because here's the thing, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found me. So people are like, how can you be so forgiving? How can you wish him love? First of all, I always loved him. I always loved that man. So me wishing him bad and all that other stuff, that's just contradictory to who I am. And I'm not going to sit and pretend for everybody else. And I'm not going to say, something different to appease the masses. That's number one. Number two, I'm going to wish him well because I am thankful. Because of him, I realized just how much I didn't love myself. Because of him, I realized just how manipulative I was. Because of him, I realized the armor that was still on my heart. Because of him, I realized that I hadn't dealt with that past trauma of being touched when I was younger. Because of him, I realized that, I was still harboring a lot of anger and angst against my parents. Because of him, I realized I was harboring some harbor against, people in my family. And I wasn't a great friend and I wasn't a great partner. And, all of those things, right? Because of him, I found me. So you're upset and you're mad and you're crying and you're sad, and I get in the moment. Let me just say this. In the beginning, I get why you don't see any of that. It took me going to therapy. Hello, somebody. And working on my grieving process, because I also learned that I hadn't grieved. For a lot of things, I was holding a lot of things. I was harboring a lot of hate. And then, so it's like, I was hoping for, a loving, healthy relationship, praying for it. But at the end of the day, I was getting that negativity because I hadn't forgiven anyone, let alone myself. It starts there. So we have to stop putting out these things, even in terms of friends. Listen, let me tell you something. I've lost friends. Things happen I never in a million years would have thought have happened. But in that, I learned some lessons. I learned some valuable lessons, and I love them. I don't want to listen. I have nothing bad to say. It's just that we all had to go on our different journeys. And I'm so tired of these memes. Friends fall out, but if, but you're supposed to come back together, and if you don't, that means you were never friends. That's a lie. Here's the thing. I had some wonderful people in my life that are no longer part of my life. It doesn't mean that they weren't great friends, because I learned some valuable things. They were also an aid in my journey to loving me. So how is it that then they wasn't ever a good friend? No, people have to understand that sometimes, here's the thing, you're praying for something, but God is walking something. The universe is walking something. Allah is walking something. Buddha is walking something in your life to help you get to that point. But all you're focused on is the negative part. You're not even seeing that if it wasn't for those people, if it wasn't for those events, it wasn't for that thing, you wouldn't have gotten to the next level. Now, there's some people who you're not getting to the next level. You're not moving off that board, because I used it last week when we talked about it in terms of video games. You have to clear the board. That means, like, even with Miss Pac-Man, right, you have to go through all these mazes and up and down and in and out, and you're being chased by people. Sometimes you get a little bonus point, a cherry. For me, that was, the year when I got promoted, even though there was a lot of negative things in my life, right? So I'm going through the mazes and I got a cherry. Yay. But I wasn't clearing the board. I wasn't getting to the next level, right? And the reason why I wasn't doing that was because of all this stuff that was weighing me down. Particularly The forgiveness aspect of things. You have to forgive others. But listen, you have to forgive yourself. You didn't know what you didn't know. Now, here's the thing. I'm not telling you in that to give yourself excuses. Now, listen, I'm not saying don't, this woe is me, this victim mentality, because there's a lot of that going around. Okay, we have to shed those things. Okay, a lot of that manipulative behavior, I realize some people don't realize that they're even manipulating with their behavior. They can't even see it or understand it. I get it. But let me tell you something that I learned last week in my training, and I thought this was the funniest thing ever, but it's so true. If you are on your journey to healing and self-love, and we're on it every day, whether you know it or not, and you run across somebody and they call you, excuse my French, an ass. If one person call you an ass, you can shrug it off. Whatever. Your opinion, don't care. You're negative, right? Shrug it off. Hater. That's what we do. But let me tell you something. If 4, 5, 10 for some of you guys, because you just don't get it, people call you an ass, you might want to grab a saddle. Because you keep thinking it's them. But here's the thing. The universe and God are bringing these people in your life, and they're running them through your journey to say, no, it is not them. It is you. There are some things you need to work on. There's some areas in your life you're not growing. And they keep, they keep coming in telling you ass, and then leaving your life, and you're like, oh, it's just them. It's not me. Hello, somebody. That is the universe saying to you, these are the things that you need to work on. This is what you need to do. You know what I mean? If you're doing the same things over and over and over again on your job, if you're doing the same things in terms of money, you're asking for financial freedom, but yet you're charging your credit cards up, and you're not looking at your bills, and you're not setting a budget, and you're not putting these things in front of your face so you can see every place your money goes, and you're constantly spending and spending, self-sabotaging, for those of you who want me to put it plain to you today. Self-sabotaging, right? Or, you're in terms of, weight loss, and let me say I'm talking to me, and, you're not, doing anything physical. You're not eating better. You're not doing any of those things. Like, how is it that you want the things that you're praying for again to happen positively? Help me understand that. You want to hold on to people that shouldn't even be held on to. And this is a very important piece, and this is a key. Okay, let me give you a key real quick. Sometimes people leave your life. It doesn't mean it's forever, right? But you have to remain open to in your prayers. You have to say, if to the universe, to God, whatever is for me, please bring it into my life. Stay open. But whatever is not, please let it leave. Stay open. This is not about calling a name. Listen, when I talk about, I'm going to just use me. When I talk to the universe and God in terms of a loving relationship and a healthy marriage, I don't talk in terms of a person. I talk in terms of, whatever is for me, whoever is for me. I ask for the things that I desire, right? Someone who is loyal, loving, someone who communicates, someone who loves themselves, someone who loves God, someone who will love me in the way that God loves me, someone who is financially stable, right? Somebody who's family oriented, somebody who is committed to their greatness, someone who's walking in their purpose, someone who's looking to serve and not just to be served. So in terms of, hello, universe and God, a man, right? So there's nothing wrong with doing that, asking, right? But I'm very general in terms of I'm being broad, I'm being open. I didn't say he was 6'5", dark chocolate fried dyed laid to side. By the way, I do love those types. Because I realized that that's superficial. And I'm not saying that you're not supposed to be attracted to them. That's not what I'm saying. But beauty fades. Okay? So when it's all said and done, is this going to be the partner that when you no longer can walk, or you need aid, and God forbid something happens to you, is that going to be the person that's going to pick you up and put you in that bed and still love you the same? Right? That's the things that you want to think about in terms of a life partner. And sometimes stop holding on to things that you're not supposed to be holding on to in terms of negativity, people. Remember, life and death is in the tongue. Speak life. And this is another passage that I love, and yeah, I'm kind of standing Mark a little bit, but heaven and earth will disappear, but my words will remain forever. Watch what you say to people. What you say and what you do stays on people's hearts for a long time. So try to speak love. Try to speak life. And I say try because people do work on your nerve. And if you can't in the moment, step away from it, pray about it, ask for forgiveness in your heart, and then apologize. And sometimes you can't apologize to that person face to face, or apologize in meditation, okay? So let's work on those things. Let's ask, believe, receive, pray, meditate. But first, forgive as you want to be forgiven. Give grace as you want to have grace. Remember, no more judgment, no more criticism. Be a blessing, and you will be blessed. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Again, reach out to me because I am running some fabulous specials this month for life coaching. Moe Sass Fitness at gmail.com. MOESASS Fitness at gmail.com. Moe Sass Fitness LLC on Facebook and Instagram. I hope to hear from you. I will talk to you next week.